plaintiff, Shirley Thompson, has known the defendant for 20 years, and she thought she was a friend, even though she was a crack addict. Shirley is suing because she claims the defendant posted her personal information on social media and claims she was a scammer and a thief. Defendant Crystal Simmons admits she tried crack one time, but insists that was the one and only time. Crystal's countersuing Shirley for a refund on a trip.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
I've known the defendant, Crystal Simmons, for about 20 years. She was actually a barmaid in my family's establishment.
Where?
In New York City.
Okay.
I always thought of Crystal as a friend, even though, you know, she was kind of like the party girl, the crackhead, the girl you go to for number earning.
She was a crack addict?
Well, I never saw her do it myself, but that's what...
The rumor.
The rumor said, yeah.
I object, Your Honor.
You object to the rumor, or you object to being the crackhead?
To being a crackhead.
Thank you. Okay, I didn't think you are now. You used to be, maybe?
Never. Never.
Maybe a little bit at a time?
Never. Never.
One rock?
Never.
Half?
Tried it one time.
Ah, I knew I had.
I tried it.
I knew I had something going on there. I can smell it. I can smell it. Anybody coming here having used crack, I can smell it. I smell a little crack in you. Might have been 30 years ago. The more I look at you, the more you smell like crack. All right, and most of the crack addiction was, unfortunately, through the 80s, after our inner cities were flooded with cocaine that came from Central America and Colombia as a result of some political factors. So unfortunately, you fell prey to that for that one time. If you want me to believe that. All right, one time. So stop saying head.
I'm sorry, sir.
One crack.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
There's a rumor that she's a one crackhead.
One-time crackhead. Sorry, Your Honor.
One. You know, in here, I don't let anybody just call people names without straightening them out. All right, one. Okay, so you're suing the one rock crackhead for $3,000 for defamation. Give me some background again.
Okay.
That she has the rumor on her, but she says it was once, and I believe her. So
okay.
Go ahead.
Fortunately, it's not about that.
You said it. I can't let you come here and disparage the woman's name and not clean it up. Okay.
Well, in August of 2021, she began defaming my name.
She said you smoke crack too?
No.
Oh.
She said that I was a scammer.
I couldn't smell it. Every time you've been in here, I don't smell no crack down. Then I turned over there, smell a little crack. All right, so
No,
you are not. Good.
No, I am not. Your Honor, she stated that I was a scammer and a thief. And she began posting my pictures on Facebook and other social media platforms stating that I was a scammer and a thief. She posted my pictures, my address. She posted threats. She attempted to post to
Your Honor, I object.
Let her finish.
Oh, okay.
to my community ties, such as National Cervical Cancer Coalition. They say they stopped the post from her, trying to say that I was a scammer and a thief there. She actually tried to ruin my name throughout everything that I do within the community, Your Honor.
Why?
Well, in 2017, there was a Essence, 2018 actually, there was an Essence Fest that was happening. So in 2017, I began working for a company, and that company had a package, a really great package that included the Essence trip, as well as transportation to the Essence, room, different parties throughout the whole Essence Fest.
4th of July weekend in New Orleans?
Yes, exactly, 4th of July in 2018. So I began collecting payments for my employer.
No, but I'm aware of it, and I have spoken once, and it's always 4th of July in New Orleans. It used to be in Houston. Go ahead.
Yes.
Let
collected
me explain
money.
what it is. It's a great festival. Essence magazine, as most know, is targeted. It's a magazine for black women primarily, and now for the last 20 years, perhaps, they have given a Essence festival that tailors workshops and other empowering things for black women, and they have some great concerts. So that happens every year, and they have like 100,000 people.
Whoa.
Yeah, so it's a nice place for single guys to go. I went one time and I said never again.
You spoke.
Unless I got Linda with me. Go ahead. And then they sometimes let women get aggressive even when Linda's with me. We were out somewhere and I was speaking to something after the report, after the thing. You know, they come around for autographs and pictures. That's primarily it. And so the reporter says, "Ma'am, what do you do when they rush your husband like this?" As if to say, "Don't you get jealous?" She say, "I step out the way. That's what I'm doing." And let him handle it. So no, I don't get jealous. I just step out the way. You used to be, maybe?
Never. Never.
Maybe a little bit at a time?
Never. Never.
One rock.
Never.
Half.
Tried it one time.
Ah, I knew I had.
But I tried
I can smell it. I can smell it. Anybody coming here having used crack, I can smell it.
Defendant Crystal Simmons is being sued by her former friend, who claims Crystal was a crack addict. But Crystal insists she only tried crack one time.
All right, and so you obtained tickets for she and another friend's associate?
Well, she and another friend was a pair, but it was actually I became the event agent for the New York City group, as well as Africa and South Carolina. I was agent for those 3 places. And for New York, my cousin actually was doing her 50th birthday, so she invited a numerous amount of her friends, which Crystal was one of them. And they was attending the Essence Fest. So I worked, like I said, for a company, and he collected all the money. He was supposed to make the payments to the hotel, and at the last minute, he sent out an email to all of the customers stating he is no longer able to hold this event, and please don't hold the agents responsible, but the event can go on.
She received that notice?
Yes, she did.
Did she know you were just an employee?
Yes, she did.
Okay. Let me hear from you, ma'am. She says several instances of defamation, and if what she says is true, it sounds like it is the case, but I'll let you tell me what's going on here, and she's going to no doubt present evidence of the things you did that she believes are defamation, and we'll get to that as soon as I allow you to give your side.
Okay. I know Shalay for over 10 years. I used to work at the bar that her family owned in Harlem. I got along very well with the family, very well. I used to see Shalay occasionally. We got along until now of the trip. So I know Shalay very well. She wasn't, I knew her very well. She was a good person. And I'm also a very likable person. I get along with everyone very well.
I get that impression. You're likable.
And the only reason why I came to this point is because I believe Shalay scammed me out of my money for the trip that we were supposed to be having, and she's a thief.
Well, you may not know the definition of a thief. A thief is someone who intentionally takes your property with the intention of never giving it back. So she has to have that intention up front, not a consequence of something that happened. And she says, well, no, I don't owe you. That's not a thief. That's somebody who you might be accusing of converting. That's perhaps conversion, meaning when someone gives you something for one thing and you use it for another, but that person doesn't have an intent to steal. It's just, I'm gonna use it for something else and give it back to her later, blah, 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 blah. That's not theft necessarily. So most people might not know that. So I'll let you get away with that, but go right ahead. You believe that. Now, Well, you describe what happened. You heard her describe what happened. So you describe how she got the money, what happened later, notice and all that.
In November of 2017, I started paying down on the trip that was supposed to have been going on in July 5th.
And down to whom?
To Chalet Tongue. I paid it to Chalet Tongue, which was a positive image company on which she owns. I had no idea that it was a second person in whom she was dealing with. I've never known.
Ma'am, when she gave you the deposit, it was to your business?
Initially, Your Honor.
Okay, that's what I was talking about when I asked you. I wasn't talking about later. I was talking about when she gave you the money, and I asked you very clearly.
No.
Hold on. I asked you very clearly, did she know?
She did.
That this was for another company when she gave you the money?
Yes, she did, Your
How
Honor.
could she know it's for another company when in fact you're telling me now, as she is saying, it was your company she gave the money to?
No, sir. No, Your
Oh,
Honor.
it wasn't her? She never gave your company any money?
No, let me explain.
She has not? Did she give your company any money?
No.
What is so confusing?
No.
All right, good. She said you didn't give her company any money. So once you prove that, the case is over. So if you can't prove it, then it might be over for you. When she gave you the deposit, it was to your business?
Initially, Your Honor.
Okay, that's what I was talking about when I asked you. And I asked you very clearly.
No.
Hold on. I asked you very clearly, did she know that this was for another company when she gave you the money?
She did.
Defendant Crystal Simmons is being sued by her former friend, who claims Crystal was a crack addict. But Crystal insists she only tried crack one time.
Let me hear from you, ma'am.
Okay, yes, Your Honor. I do have proof. I also have proof of the flyer from which is only Chalet's name on the flyer.
What page?
The page 1, 2, and page 1 and 2.
Contact Shay at Positive Image Pro. Who owns that, ma'am?
I do,
Shay,
Your Honor.
You did?
Yes.
All right. And she didn't give you any. She didn't give your company any money, though.
That's what I was trying to explain, Your Honor.
I asked a yes or no question. Did she give your company some money? Okay. Your claim is dismissed. Yours is granted. She won't respond, and she
No, sir.
is inconsiderate. Yes, ma'am. Bye.
I just would like to get my money back, that's all. I have nothing else to say to Shay about anything else. That's it.
Plaintiff Michael Beeman rented a home to the defendants, and he claims they were constantly late on paying rent. And then they stopped paying altogether, so he's suing. Defendants Jacqueline Robb and her fiancé Matthew Check say Michael is nothing but a pervert who often barged in on Jacqueline and her daughter when they were naked.
Start with you, sir.
I met Matthew and Jacqueline in end of February. They applied to rent half a double, and I met them and got an application, and they seemed like good people and family, had a couple of kids, and seemed like their income, which was by government checks, from what I could tell, which a landlord likes that. That's pretty solid income. So I said I would rent with them, and they had their funding well enough together that they actually paid, besides the first month and a month for deposit, they paid 2 more months rent, and everything was fine at that point. I didn't have any more dealings with them until I went to collect rent in June, and I was not in the kindest and understanding way told that we don't get our checks until the 3rd, I think she said, but whatever it was, I was there on the 1st, and it was a bad time. I just apologized, said, okay, I'll come back later. I came back probably on a weekend. As far as the rent collection, there really wasn't any problems over the course of the summer, but there were other issues that came up. I think even one of the other times I collected rent, I made the mistake of coming on the 1st again, and also very unfriendly, even at that time, kind of condescending and sarcastic. Like, what's wrong with you? How come you keep making the same mistake? I'm sorry again, but I actually have gone back and looked on page 1, my lease. She wrote on there, do not get checks until first a month. But which kind of would make you think nothing wrong with collecting rent on the first of the month, but whatever, it didn't work for them. So,
well, most landlords want to be the first to get paid. Yes, most bills. That's the biggest bill most folks have, I think. Unless you're living ghetto fabulous and paying more for your car than you are for your house, which a lot of people do. You all don't do that, do you? You're not ghetto fabulous? Pay more for your car than you do your rent? Got a Mercedes, you live in the projects? She said, yeah, sir. So that's what happened to your money. She in that Mercedes. First of the month, I told you. Mercedes down. Whoo! Jacqueline had her brand new Mercedes. Jacqueline got her brand new Mercedes. Look at her go. Look at her go. You got Michael back here. Hey, where's my rent? Where's my rent? Yeah. That's how it went. So you were the second, at least you were the second one to get paid. Oh, but you didn't get paid.
Everything was fine at that point. I didn't have any more dealings with them until I went to collect rent in June.
Most landlords want to be the first to get paid. Yes, most bills. That's the biggest bill most folks have, I think. Unless you're living ghetto fabulous and paying more for your car than you are for your house, which a lot of people do.
Defendants Jacqueline Robb and her fiancé Matthew Check are being sued by their former landlord. And Jacqueline claims he's nothing but a pervert who often barged in on her and her daughter when they were naked.
Prior to that, there was a pattern. What about March, April, May? Were they paying on the 1st at that time for those months?
And there was no reason for them to pay Judge. They had paid 3 months rent when they moved in. They paid March, April, May at the time of move in.
Okay.
So I didn't have reason to have any more interaction with them.
Got it.
But
and when was it due according to the lease?
The lease says due on the 25th, and I have done that for decades because that way.
So 1 week later, it would be late. I got it. Okay. So the first would be late if you went according to the strict language of the lease. All right.
Indeed.
When you come over there and talk to them, they talk slick to you, then you're definitely going with the formal wording of the lease.
I could.
When you got the law against you, you don't talk slick, folks. That's like talking to the prosecutor slick when you know he has the goods on you. You don't do that. Or the IRS, you ain't paid them. You know you ain't paid them. They call you and say you owe them money. You say, well, don't call me no more. They won't. They'll call your job and say, send that payment to us. You got to say, oh, Mr. Michael, we know we owe you, and it's the 1st. Can you give us 2 more days? You're trying to get off your rent, and you're talking crazy to the man. You tell me what happened.
We've been out for about 2 days moving by ourselves. It's only me, him, our daughter, and our son. We're not supposed to be listening to stuff, so we're very tired. Very tired. We had to be out by yesterday at 6 o'clock. And I want to just start off by saying this man is painting a picture for you. He is a pervert. He walks in on me and my daughter naked in my home multiple times. My neighbor says this about him, as I have no verification of my son was there when he done it once. He's not the...
Your neighbor has to tell you that he's walking in on you and your daughter while you're naked? You never noticed?
Everybody in the neighborhood says this man is a pervert. And if I would have known that now, then I would have never moved in this man's home.
What things have they said he did to give the impression in the neighborhood that he was a pervert?
The lady that lives next door to me lives by herself. She's an older lady. He has 12 different rentals around there. She said that everybody moves out. They don't stay long. The lady before me is a single mother. He walked in on her naked, and she got filed a police report and a restraining order on him. It happened to me with my daughter. My daughter's 14 years old. And at that point, like I asked him, you know, why can't you knock? I did, you didn't hear me. That doesn't give you a right to come to my home.
The back door is right next to the our bathroom, and the bathroom door does not correctly shut. So that's sometimes he storms in the back door if we don't answer the door right away.
He doesn't give you 24-hour notice?
No, never.
No.
Never.
Is
no,
it
never.
the lease doesn't
ever since
require
he's,
notice?
Nope, it just says he can walk right
Let me let
in.
him speak. Sir, what do you say to
that.
this?
He says that. He thinks he can.
I say I have no idea what they're talking about. I didn't even see them for the first 3 months they lived there, and all I ever did.
But
was
after
come
that,
and
you
knock on the
saw him.
door.
Say it don't matter
They don't-
when you saw the woman and her kid naked. You saw it. You say you didn't see it for 3 months.
Yeah, I have no idea where they come up with I saw anybody naked or came in the house. They would never answer the phone. You couldn't communicate them with them any way at all. They wouldn't return calls.
So you
The
never
only-
came in without notice. You never entered their house without notice and permission.
No, I did hear that from her before, though. She told me that Melinda next door said that I came in on a previous tenant naked. So I guess we're just expanding on the me coming in on naked things to where now not only was it a previous tenant, it's her too.
And she says that, right, and she says the whole neighborhood, when they see you come out, they all grab their kids and run in the house.
My tenant on the other side's been there for 5.5 years, and he's an excellent tenant. I get along with him real well, but
Yeah, because
she
they
has
don't never
told me-
come out, huh?
She's told me that the tenant next door to him, who's a great tenant, we get along well. She's told me that he hates me too and knows I'm a bad guy. I have heard that from her. I'd like to give you some more background on her if I get a chance.
Go right ahead. I'll let you do so now because she has really made some inflammatory allegations here and really is defaming you. I'm having fun with it a little because I don't believe it.
Defendants Jacqueline Robb and her fiancé Matthew Check are being sued by their former landlord. And Jacqueline claims he's nothing but a pervert who often barged in on her and her daughter when they were naked.
You tell me what you want to say to this.
Her demeanor, whenever I would get to see her trying to collect rent, as I said, it's condescending, sarcastic. There was an incident where she was upset about some ants got into her vehicle. And it was because of a tree that's there, been there forever. I haven't had any problems with it before, but the tree was causing her a problem and she wanted me to cut it down. Well, I said I'd trim the tree come November when the leaves get off, but it's not going to happen now. And I really don't see any ants. And she would just on and on and on about the tree and the problems and she can't park underneath it. And that pushed it over to where then they started parking in the guy's spaces on the other side. And he was quite upset. I thought probably time for me to stop up there and talk to him about the parking. So I did that. It just pretty much involved her being upset about the tree, upset about the ants, upset about the parking. Anything I would try to address, she'd switch to something else she's upset about. And it's just, there's nothing you could really do.
This is over the course of what time?
This was like during the summertime, just this one incident I'm talking about. We move on into the fall where I'm still coming by at the first of the month trying to collect rent. And I come up, knock on the door softly one day because I've come to realize she's really touchy and prone to go off. Knock on the door softly, hear the TV going inside. It's probably, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, something like that. I don't get any response. Knock on the door a little louder and the TV shuts off. Well, okay, now obviously they're going to come to the door. And I wait probably 60 seconds in between each knocking. And still nobody comes to the door. So then I knock on the door louder. And I start hearing her screeching in the house, "Come you quit beating on that door." And she throws the door open. "You beat on that door anymore, I'm going to beat on your head." Oh, that was like November. I said, at this point, the lease is up. Thinking to myself, the end of February, I'm just going to stay away from them. They're never going to call me. They don't have any rent. They've already quit paying. I got partial payments in September and October.
Let's go back to what they're saying. Where in your lease does it spell out the terms for you coming by and dropping in or giving notice to your tenant?
There is nothing in the lease, Your Honor, that addresses me coming by. It would just be standard courtesy. I try to treat people the way I'd like to be treated. I always want to talk to people on the phone. Not many people want to talk on the phone these days. They mostly want to text. I really don't text, but I still try to call. You can't leave message because the voicemail box is always full. there just is no other way to communicate with these people other than go to the
That's
house.
not true, sir. You could write a letter. You can drop a letter off in the mailbox, pin something onto the door and say, I was here, didn't want to interrupt your tenancy, but I would like to know when. You can put a letter, sir. You don't go by knocking.
I have left notes. Indeed, I appreciate you reminding me.
Most states require that. I don't know whether your state does or not, and whether this lease is adheres to your state law. Most states do require that the lease contain a reference to when the landlord can barge into your house. And if there's no clause in the lease that says when the landlord who has keys can come, then that landlord can show up like she said and see what he sees. And you said that you show up. That's when you drop in at 4 p.m. because that's a good time for whoever. You have to drop in when there's an appointment, sir.
Defendants Jacqueline Robb and her fiancé Matthew Check are being sued by their former landlord. And Jacqueline claims he's nothing but a pervert who often barged in on her and her daughter when they were naked.
Tell me the basis of the non-payment.
I'm on page 7. It's my ledger. Paid $475 in September, $475 in
That's
October.
your ledger. Is that all you have is your own personal notes?
Yes, sir.
You don't have any communications where you ask for your money or for any court action or anything else people do to get their money and show evidence to the court? The judge doesn't just take your word. You have to show the judge some evidence of non-payment or convince the judge, not by saying, look at page 7 and she owes me everything I put down. You have to tell me something. Did you speak to them in September? They owed you $200. What was that discussion?
That was actually her coming out and paying me $475 and saying that's the best they could do at this point because
okay. What about October? Same thing?
Pretty much same thing, yeah.
Okay, what about November? Nothing. They paid you nothing.
That's when I got threatened to get my head.
Okay, then we got December. Nothing. Then we had, let's just make it easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 times you went without receiving your rent. 9 months straight.
Well, their lease was up at the end of February, too. I did not renew their lease. I sent them a certified letter the middle of January, which is also there in my evidence, and told 6 weeks ahead of time. My message, very simple, page 3.
Do you all owe the money?
I've paid him everything that I've been able to. I've submitted the moratorium letters to him. I've submitted 3 moratorium letters.
So now, show me evidence that rent is due. Do you have that evidence? Guess not. When you come back, when you have evidence that he currently owes. Have a good day. Your claim is dismissed. Bye-bye.
I wish you will have a horrible life like you made us have a horrible life.
Plaintiff Kim Hood says her mother's husband had an affair with the defendant's mother. And although Kim's mother said this man was not her father, she believes he may be both her father and the defendant's father. So she petitioned the court for a DNA test. Defendant Lehman Hood says he's always known about Kim, but no one in the family really talked about the fact that they may be siblings. So Lehman is eager to learn the truth today.
We're here today for a sibling DNA test.
Yes.
All right, start with you.
Lehman and I, we have different mothers, but we're here today to see if we have the same father. Mm-hmm. Lehman's mother was the mistress, and my mother was the wife. My mom explained to me that she lived that life for many years, and after the mental and sometimes physical abuse, she left the marriage. After being estranged from the marriage for 2 years, I was conceived. And she always told me that my father was not her husband and that this other man was my father, who I recall meeting twice when I was 5 years old. My mom took me to see him one Easter Sunday. And a second time he came to see me and he bought me a bike. And he asked me if I wanted to come live with him. And I said yes. And my mom was like, you don't want to do that. After that, he was not a part of my life.
Did you ask your mom why?
She never talked about it.
About why he wasn't a part of your life?
It was rumored that he was married.
Okay, and they didn't. That wife didn't want to have the association.
I believe so.
Okay. Did you have a father in your life at all?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I had father figures, but no father.
Okay. Let me hear from you, sir. Give me some background.
Well, I've always known of Kim. You know, even growing up. My first encounter or meeting Kim was when she was a freshman in college. She came to Alabama. I met her.
When did you first know of her, though?
John, it's difficult to say because nobody talked about them or her her other sisters or siblings. But the encounter with Kim, I knew of her before the first encounter. But then my first encounter was when she was like a freshman in college, and it was just brothers and sisters at that time. My father was around the family, but he was not who we believed that to be her father. Was not a in-home reared family. My mother raised her 5 children and 4 of her mother's children in the same household. And we never talked about how all of this came about. It was never discussed. My father never discussed her. My mother never discussed her or any of the other siblings or how this came about. All we knew was that we did have other siblings. In fact, Your Honor, it's 17 of us that count each other as brothers and sisters.
Why are you pointing at me?
I'm sorry. I'm
I ain't down. Maybe. I don't know my father. Is he dead? Yeah.
Yes, he's deceased.
My father is too.
Yeah, but I was just trying to
swear on everything. My father looked like you. Not trying to be funny. Dark skin, but he had a bald head. He looked like you.
Mine does too, Your Honor.
The one that's deceased.
The one that's deceased, yes.
We got another test? we got any more tests with you? You know, that's why he was pointing at me. But he said, you know, we got a lot more siblings. In fact, my daddy had 17.
And counting.
Yeah, so ain't no problem. You all seem like folks I would love to be a brother of.
Plaintiff Kim Hood believes she and the defendant may share the same father, so she petitioned the court for a sibling DNA test.
What years was it? 60s, 70s, what?
I was born in 1957, so
okay.
If we went through up until 4 other, my mother gave birth to 5. 4 other of my siblings, my daddy's children, came to live with us. My mother was the sole breadwinner, you know, at that time, and we all just went about life.
Where'd you all grow up again?
Montgomery, Alabama.
Okay.
Yeah.
I grew up in New York.
She grew up in
I grew up in New York.
Okay.
Right.
Where'd your folks move to up north? Detroit?
Well, my siblings,
Alabama folks, your Alabama family, where did they move to?
Some was Detroit. I kind of migrated to Detroit for a while.
Okay, because I always try to point out where black folks in the South migrated to. You know, some folks like to try and say that, my family's from New York. Ain't no slave ships landing in New York. No, you're not. Your family is from the South, where they brought the slaves in and enslaved us.
Right.
Or our ancestors. So that's why I always say Alabama went to Detroit. The Carolinas went to New York. So, and most of it had to do with the rail line. The railroad, then the transportation routes. I always like to get that out. So your folks from Alabama, like I always say, they went to Detroit up north.
Yes.
And Montgomery. All right. And you were raised in New York.
Yeah.
Where were your people from?
My mom was from Montgomery, Alabama.
Oh, okay. I thought you were about to tell me your mom was from New York.
But
She's from Montgomery also?
I was born and raised in a small town called Wyandanch.
Where's that?
That's in Suffolk County, New York.
Okay, yeah, I know Suffolk County is. But your parents, you say, are from, or your mom and perhaps your grandmom from Alabama?
Right, and the man that was supposed to be my father, he was from Brooklyn.
Okay, got it. And his family were from where? Do you know where his family were from?
I have no idea.
Because you didn't know much about him.
No, I didn't know anything
about him. What I've heard, I think they said my father was from South Carolina. So I don't know how it happened, Detroit, other than my mom moved from Tallahassee, where she had been raised by my grandfather, who unfortunately I had never met. My grandmother died earlier than that, so she was raised, her and her 7 siblings, by her dad, who later had a wife. But Tallahassee, then she came to Detroit. But Tallahassee, they arrived there from southern Georgia, so there it is. Southern Georgia borders Florida. So my family came from southern Georgia. Don't start this Tallahassee stuff either. They're from Florida. I know you're not. Where you from? You from Georgia?
Yeah.
All right, so we got some of that out of the way. All right, and what do you feel, though? You all believe your siblings?
We are siblings.
All right.
Yes.
You
just come to me just to have a little fun.
No, sir. No, sir. I came to support Kim in her really.
In her quest.
Yes.
To get confirmation.
Yes.
Yes.
Good. All right. You all ready?
Yes.
To know the answer? How you gonna feel about each other if it's not the case?
Well, he's always going to be my brother.
You've been in touch since your college days?
Yes.
All right.
We stay.
Okay. Well, make sure you stay in touch and maintain your brother and sisterhood. But it's not by blood. Not by blood, but by love.
Yes.
You all are still siblings. All right. God bless you guys.
Thank you. I still love my brother. He's always going to be my brother. This was just to get some closure and to know my truth and to know my roots.
Right.
Yes. And now I guess I'll try to find my father.
That's my sister, and I'll help her find her father, And whenever she finds him, she's still my sister,